The white boy. Long ago, a young black woman married a white man. Their interracial marriage caused resentment in both the black and white communities. Her own family turned their backs on her, while white society refused to accept her. She was looked down upon, rejected, and treated with coldness and contempt. Then her first child was born, almost like a blessing from God. The little boy was fair-skinned and handsome, and everyone who saw him wanted to hold and adore him. For convenience, let us call him the white boy. When the white boy turned 5, he was admitted to a school reserved for white children. He was exceptionally bright, and his intelligence was so remarkable that people seemed to overlook the fact that his mother was black. Not long after the white boy started school, his mother gave birth to another son. This time, God seemed not to favor one side over the other. The second child was very dark-skinned. For convenience, let us call him the black boy. The white boy brought his parents as much joy as the black boy brought them sorrow. The black boy seemed to understand his place from an early age. He stayed close to his mother, and neither dared nor was allowed to go out with his father and older brother. When he turned 5, his parents used every connection they had to get him into the same school as the white boy. There, the white children mocked him and treated him cruelly. The white boy also suffered greatly because of his younger brother's presence. Eventually, both brothers were expelled from the white school. With no other choice, their parents made a painful arrangement. The white boy was sent far away to a white boarding school, where no one would know that his mother and younger brother were black. The black boy, meanwhile, was sent back to his mother's hometown to attend a school reserved for black children under the oppressive racial system of the time. Their father continued working, while their mother remained home alone, quietly longing for her children beyond words. The extraordinary blending of two bloodlines, untouched by humanity's prejudice, seemed to have given the white boy exceptional intelligence. This became a source of comfort to his mother, and the poor woman placed all her hopes in her firstborn son. As for the black boy, the darkness of his skin seemed to have already determined the hardship of his fate. At the white boarding school, the white boy was loved by his teachers and respected by his classmates. Not a single person suspected his black ancestry. Yet inside, he lived in constant fear. He was terrified that someone might discover the truth about his mother and brother and throw him out of school. Because of this, seeing his mother and younger brother became a source of anxiety and embarrassment for him. During school breaks, instead of going home, he often stayed with friends. His mother remained at home, waiting and waiting for the son she missed so deeply. Eventually, she died carrying that sorrow in her heart. Their father did not live much longer. After both parents had passed away, the white boy cut off all contact with his younger brother. Years passed. The white boy grew into a handsome, highly educated young man. He joined the military, rose to the rank of captain, and after leaving the service became a prosecutor in a large city. He lived a life of wealth, prestige, and social standing, much like the privileged white Europeans around him. There was only one difference. Deep inside, he was always afraid. He lived with the constant fear that someone would discover his mixed black ancestry, even though he had carefully changed both his first and last name. The black boy was not as fortunate. His skin color had already defined his social position for him. Knowing that his older brother did not want to be associated with him, he found companionship in books and among friends who shared his skin color. The two brothers were equally handsome and equally intelligent. The only real difference between them was the color of their skin. And strangely enough, the black boy lived with a freedom the white boy never knew. He did not spend his days and nights haunted by the fear that someone might discover who he really was. After more than 10 years apart, circumstances eventually brought the black boy near his brother again. With the white boy's reluctant permission, the younger brother came to visit him. Because of that meeting, an unfortunate incident occurred. The truth came out. Everyone discovered that the successful, respected white man they knew was, in fact, of mixed black ancestry. And in a single moment, everything the white boy had spent years building, his reputation, his love, his career, his social standing, collapsed. My dear friend, the story above is drawn from the book Let That Day Perish, written by an English-language author. But my purpose here is not to tell you a tragic story about worldly love. I want to ask you something else. I want to ask about the white boy who lives inside each of us, you and me. No matter how hard we try to discipline ourselves, train ourselves, practice the Dharma, and build an outward appearance of dignity, kindness, purity, and holiness, is it not true that somewhere deep within body and mind, you and I must painfully acknowledge that our own black history, the darker, harmful, unwholesome side of ourselves, still lies hidden within, just like the white boy? The more his outward appearance was admired, accepted, and rewarded by society, the more the black ancestry within him became a source of shame, anxiety, and torment. Have you ever noticed something similar within yourself? Behind all the qualities we try so hard to cultivate: compassion, loving kindness, sympathetic joy, equanimity, sensitivity, gentleness, tact, charm, and all the qualities required to become a perfectly respectable and admirable person, have you ever painfully discovered that the seeds of greed, anger, jealousy, cruelty, and selfishness are still right there? Perhaps the only difference is that other people have not noticed them yet. And so, the more people love and admire you, the more ridiculous and dishonest you may sometimes feel inside. In the story, whenever the black boy appears or makes contact with the white boy's entire world of prestige, illusion, and false identity is immediately threatened with collapse. We are much the same. After all the effort we have put into cultivating the appearance of a serious spiritual practitioner, sometimes all it takes is one burst of anger, one sarcastic smile, one jealous glance, and the entire gold-plated image we have carefully constructed comes crashing down. The tragedy of the story lies in the fact that the white boy rejected the black blood within himself. He tried to hide it. He tried to convince the world and perhaps himself that he was 100% white. And because of that, he had to live every day in fear that the truth would be exposed. Why would anyone willingly live such a fearful, dishonest, unstable life? Because the glittering world around him, together with the privileges reserved for white people, made him desperately long to become one of them and enjoy what they enjoyed. Now let us return to ourselves. From the time we were very young, our parents and teachers taught us that we should try to become good, obedient, decent, lovable children. As we grew older, society handed us another mold, what a polite, likable, socially successful person should look like. Then, when you enter a Buddhist monastery, people around you may begin praising you as a great spiritual aspirant, a renunciant, a teacher, someone worthy of respect, and so on. And perhaps more than ever, this becomes the moment when you begin rejecting your actual self. You try to force yourself into an image, a personality, a role, a spiritual ideal that the people around you expect, admire, and praise. That is exactly the moment when the white boy inside you begins trying to prove that he is 100% white. My dear friend, if you have truly succeeded, if you have become a perfectly pure and saintly practitioner, spotless and white as a conch shell, if no one can discover even the slightest flaw in you, and especially if you are completely satisfied with the person you have become, with all the virtues you have worked so hard to cultivate, and with all the respect, privileges, and admiration that the world has bestowed upon that respectable outer image, then this story may end here for you. But if, even for a moment, you have sensed that something is not quite right, something unstable, something false, something deeply contradictory within yourself, then perhaps, just once, gather enough courage to look directly at yourself. Whatever is there, see it exactly as it is. For once, do not struggle so hard to change yourself into some other version of yourself that you believe would be better. If the white boy had dared to acknowledge that he was of mixed black ancestry, yes, it would have hurt. He might have lost the reputation, status, and privileges that society reserved for white people. In the same way, When you are willing to admit that you are simply another sentient being still carrying greed, anger, and delusion. Just like countless ordinary beings around you, you may lose some of the admiration and reverence that others have given you. But in return, the white boy would finally be free. He could live naturally, comfortably, without constantly trembling at the thought that someday the truth might come out. And you too may discover an entirely new and extraordinary sky opening before you. How painful it is to witness the death of that illusory self, the false identity we have spent so much effort hiding, polishing, training, and protecting, but in return there is no longer anything to fear, no longer anything to defend, no longer anything to hide. In the language of the sutra, no obstruction and therefore no fear, nothing left to be afraid of, nothing left to worry about, nothing at all. To accept that we have negative tendencies does not mean that we surrender ourselves to ignorance, delusion, or desire. Acceptance means something very different. It means calmly observing, watching carefully, seeing clearly, understanding all the way through the entire structure we call I, me, and myself, the ego. And this is precisely the point that Master Yongjia Xuanju expressed so decisively. The true nature of ignorance is itself Buddha nature. That is the point, my dear friend.